Welcome to Something Slight on Kismet Radio. I'm your host, Tara, and we're actually at the crib. And my guest is the man, the myth, the legend, Yo. Yo is a Georgia-born music journalist who has had his hand in many pots. He's the author of the hip hop anthology, Best Damn Hip Hop Writing, The Book of Yo, co-author of The Culture Playbook, co-host of the podcast Fuck You Money, and co-creator of the music documentary series Rap Portraits.
Yeah.
Welcome, Yo. How are you?
I'm good. Also at home. And
Yeah.
that was so nice to hear about all the things that I've done in my life. Like as
I
a
mean,
resume. Like it's
yeah,
crazy. It's
you have a really nice bio. It's succinct, but it has a lot of stuff.
yeah, right. I
Yeah.
hope so. I've been
Yeah.
building it my whole life.
I mean, we can tell, definitely. You're in Atlanta right now?
Yes. I'm happy to be
Yeah.
home.
Yeah, I'm sure. Before we get into our conversation, we're going to play a few records.
Neck and wrist, built different, real sturdy, reminiscent of them bricks. I'm just holding on till I get a better grip. Words from my aunt Janet, in my heart she still lives. Standing on the planet, fly like the mothership. The gods must have sent me down here on a mission. Had to change channels, I watched my dog switch. Hit me like them customized nines, I was triggered. Thought you was my brother, but you want some other shit. I had to hit the corner, had to go and bust a bitch. Spin the block, you know I had to get my lick back. I'd rather eat in peace, I'd rather get this bread. I'd rather brush the dirt off and get it off my head. Dig it deep in the game, blood, spirit, and flesh. Deep in the game, blood, spirit, and flesh in it. Forget who questioned it. Looking like a movie, but my life is bigger than a flick. Bigger than the Instagram, bigger than the Twitch. Bigger than the theater or museum exhibits. It's just a little abstract, but you can get the picture.
Yeah, yeah, hey, uh, yeah. A two-stepping with the old gang. I was with bro gang, that's when I saw your name. Singing mini rips and through the OA. She say, why you Chris A? I say that be my code name. Her favorite artist, no name. My favorite artist, no name. Ride through the city, bumping telephone and smoke break. She smarter than anybody that I know, and that's on folks' name. We don't do the public, we just keep it on the low, man. Her favorite artist, no name. My favorite artist. Slide through a Hyde Park, always in the spoke cage. I said, be yourself, man, fuck it, we had no shame. I love when she herself, like, baby, just do your thing. Her favorite artist, no name, my favorite artist, no name. We ain't got shit to do, so baby, why don't you come on over? We ain't got shit to do. Come on over. We ain't got shit to do. So baby, why don't you come on over? She got that look now, I brought the hook down. She from the good down, it took a look well. I was in Mississippi, cocoa butter and you brought me sunrise. Tears all in the thugs eye. I found about love at the fish fry. My favorite rapper comment, like what we got in common. And chicken scratch, tin and polish. Lakeshore blasting Black Swan in my rocket. I got the jazz like John Stockton, baby. We ain't got shit to do. So baby, why don't you come on over? We ain't got shit to do. So baby, why don't you come on over? We ain't got shit to do. So baby, why don't you come on over? We ain't got shit to do. So baby, why don't you come on over?
So I want to know how you became Yo. What was your introduction to music?
Growing up, music was always in the car. My parents would take us to school. They would take us wherever, and the radio was always on, or albums were always on. It was just the most consistent thing that I feel like every time I got into the car, I heard a new song. And from there, it just kind of developed into a love. My parents ended up working, managing a skating rink, and then they ended up owning one when I was like 13. So we was always at the rink. And there was a case of CDs that had like nothing but clean music in it because we had different DJs. So one day I picked up ATLiens by Outkast, just took it home with me, put it in the CD player, and was just like, this is a completely different universe. I think I just fell in love with that idea of finding music and finding artists and just being sent somewhere different.
Damn, growing up in a skating rink though, that must have been fun.
It was it was fun. I can't lie. It was fun. But you're working. You're still like 13, 14 years old, and you just want to be at home and play video games and hang out with your friends, and you got to go to work from 6 to 10 and go to school and then wake up and be back at work from 4 to 11. Like we were on a schedule at the rink. But it was cool because you learned a lot about music and entertainment, met a lot of kids. So built a lot of friendships through just having the rink. All the kids from school would come skating. So I would just see my classmates all the time. It was cool.
Nice. Were you always writing?
No, I didn't start writing until after high school. So I was like maybe 19, 20. Whatever year Nicki Minaj, Roman's Revenge came out, that was my first album review that I wrote. Yeah, that was the first one.
You said for your auntie, right?
Yeah, my aunt Cynthia had website that covered rock music in Atlanta. And she
That's
saw
niche.
very interesting, very like
Yeah.
it's called the Silver Tongue. So
It's called a
she,
silver tongue.
the Silver Tongue, yeah.
Yeah.
So the Silver Tongue was just like the website, and my aunt would bring writers in, commission them for pieces, things of that nature. So she hit me and my brother and was like, "Y'all want to write reviews about rap albums?" We were like, "No," but she like asked me again, and I didn't have anything else to do. Plus, like I love my aunt, so I ended up writing the review. It was the first thing that I really wrote about music specifically, and I didn't hate it. So I wrote a couple more for her, and just kind of end up finding like a real passion for it.
What did you like about it?
Being opinionated,
Hmm.
like having a point of view and being able to articulate that, um, deciphering what you're listening to, and it makes you pay attention to the music. I think I had to take a deeper, I was like a deep listener. So I think that part of focusing on something so intensely and translating that is kind of fun. It's like a game.
That's crazy to me that you didn't write for 20 years and then you just became like prolific.
Well, I just had time. I had time. I had a lot
Yeah.
of music, and it was funny because my first editor that I really had said the same thing. Like we were talking one day. He was like, "Did you write for the school paper?" I was like, "No." He was like, "Nothing? You didn't do anything?" And I was like, "Just regular essays that teachers make you write in literature class. I didn't do no other writing, like really outside of that."
I mean, were you excelling in those classes?
I was fine. I was cool. I had one teacher told me I could write. I had one that was like, "Nah, you're cool." It was my AP Lit teacher, Dr. Milton. She just
Hmm.
felt like I needed to focus more. But we was in that class talking about rap music, so that was the problem. It wasn't
Mm.
the literature. It was just we wanted to talk about Jay-Z and
I
Lil
mean,
Wayne.
maybe that's foreshadowing for you.
Maybe because we was like, oh, this is like the deep lore. But because I was already into music, people would ask me to make them like mix CDs.
Oh,
So
okay.
it would bring me like lists, and I would find the music online, burn it to CD, and bring it to classmates. So outside of the skating rink, that's what people really knew me for was like CDs.
But how did you make it known that you were like this music head? People just knew?
People knew because people knew where they were getting the CDs from. Like,
Okay.
and it was interesting because people bring me actual lists. Like they would write out their list. It was like Tara's list, and you would bring it to me. And I would bring you back a CD. So
Were
kids
you
kind of
charging?
yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
okay, okay, okay. I'm like, what is
It was a business.
it has
It
to
cost
be
you
a
like three
hustle. Come
dollars.
on.
It cost you like $3 to get a Yo Mix. And
Wow.
yes, yes. Don't ask me what I
With
did with that.
inflation, that's probably like $20 now,
Oh, for
honestly.
real.
Yeah.
And me and my brother, we were selling candy. We were just like selling candy and CDs in school. My brother was doing airbrush T-shirts, like
Oh,
making
wow.
whole airbrush. Yeah, he was going crazy.
That's
Uh,
cool.
yeah, we were just bored. We just obviously we had other
Yeah.
stuff in school to be building businesses, so we were just out here trapping.
I mean, that's yeah, that's
Didn't make
funny.
no money though. Let me tell you, I wasn't rich in school. Like we didn't make no money. It wasn't like the trap was booming or nothing. It was just like little hand man. Like,
Trap
don't get it
light.
confused. It's not like no kingpin shit. Like I wasn't moving. I wasn't Def Jam. Just little here and there. Maybe
You just
three,
try
four
how to
years.
make life interesting.
Buying candy. That's all. We're just buying candy.
Yeah. So I met you when we both wrote for a DJ booth back in the day.
Uh-huh.
I mean, how did you get there?
Luck in Twitter.
Mm.
Because I met Nathan on Twitter because he was just like tweeting about music on a regular basis.
Refined hype. Is that what you said?
Yeah, Refine Hype was his name. And Refine Hype was the brother website to DJ Booth.
Mm.
So I liked Nathan. I liked his writing. And he had tweeted out something. So I sent him an article that I had wrote on the Silver Tongue for my aunt. And he read it and he was like, "Oh, you got some more stuff?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I just started sending him things for Refine Hype and he would publish them. I wouldn't get paid or nothing, but it was really like the second or third time I really worked with an editor, but he was the only one that I knew was like making a living in the music journalism space. So I got a job and I'm kind of writing for Refine Hype, but I'm not consistent. I'm very like one or two stories, maybe a month. But I had an idea for a story. So I left my job while I was off work. I wrote the story, sent it to Nathan, and Nathan was like, "This is cool. It's gonna run on DJ Booth tomorrow." And I was like, "Why?" And the sites were merging, and that was how I got my first byline on DJ Booth, which is like a merger. So
Mhm.
after that, the piece did well enough where they asked me for more. Um, they asked me for more stories, and I started writing more. Then they told me that when they would have some cap space to hire a writer, that I would be hired. And November 2014, they hit me to hire me. And my last day at my previous job was December 31st, going into the new year. So from 2015 through 2020, I was at DJ Booth.
That's a good run.
It was a decent run, a little 5 year,
Yeah.
little,
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
5 piece. It was cool.
What What do you like about writing in that way? Because you did a
Uh,
lot of like one listen reviews and you
yeah.
did a lot of like, I mean, I think the difference with DJ Booth is that from like a Complex or Pitchfork or whatever is that the kind of content they made is feels like it's more geared towards like artist development or like music business
Hmm.
in addition to profiles or whatever.
Well, it developed because first it was like music premieres, like posting like mixtapes. They were kind
Mhm.
of a channel for that. They used to post everything. I think they even had like a ranking or something. Something was on the website that let you know it was popular. They always kind of had some type of metric like that. And when they merged with Refine Hype was like all op-ed, interview, profile type writing. So they really brought over that style of writing for Refine Hype. I just happened to actually come over with it, and it was me, Nathan, Lucas. So we were doing a lot of like op-eds, a little bit more song rankings, any type of like light investigative reporting, light like night news reporting, right? Just
Mhm.
very light though, not overdone. That developed into album reviews. Nathan was the one that created the one listen review format. Um, and it was based off a J. Cole tweet. J. Cole tweeted something, and Nathan was just like, "Well, I want to just do these one listen reviews." So he
Mhm.
started it, and then, but he ends up leaving the site maybe like a year and a half after starting it. So then I was like the only one there. Both Nathan and Lucas got other jobs. So I took on one listens. I kept writing like the op-ed styles type stuff. And then Z was very like interested in the business side and really talking about that sort of thing. So
Mhm.
those interests kind of just developed into a website, I think. Because then they end up hiring Donna and Dylan and brought out a bunch of people. Brendan, like, yeah, there was a little gang over there.
Mhm.
And yeah, we just kind of kept those interests alive. Then they started doing like personal essays and had artists doing testimonies. It was cool. We had a lot
Yeah.
going on.
How do you think you've grown as a writer since then? I mean, it's been 4 years, right? So
I'm way more stressed out
why?
because it's hard. Being a writer is
Yeah.
like when I got started, I just wanted to write words on pages and get paid for it. I didn't think about anything else. It was just I have an idea. I want to write this.
Mhm.
Someone wants to pay me for it. That's all I want
Mhm.
to do. That's it. That's all I want in my life to be. You do that long enough and you realize your life can't really just be that. It has to be something with more of intention to grow into something more. So I think the last 4 years have been about growing as like the writer business and how to be a writer that like really makes a living off their words and not just work for a website that pays them to do that.
Well, I mean, your writing has gone beyond the page, and now you're involved in all these other projects, podcasts. I mean, not
Mhm.
media related, right? Like
Yeah.
video. I mean, what is it like, moving beyond the page and still being a writer, but involved in these sort of like non-writerly projects?
Right. They're not necessarily about the words on the page.
Yeah.
But it's still writing though. It's still reporting. It's still
Yes.
journalism. And I think that's what I was thinking as you were speaking. It's like, oh yeah, the skills were transferable.
Hmm.
All the skills I built up over the 5 years at DJ Booth could be placed into other things that was not writing. I didn't know that at first, so I was like blessed to have opportunities present themselves where they developed into, okay, this is a podcast, but I'm still using the same qualities that I used over there. It's not written. Oh, this is now a video format that takes the same journalistic approach, and we're using the same relationships. I think that's a big reason why everything
Yes.
has been rap. It's because it's like even before DJ Booth, the stuff I was doing before then was like building relationships and like learning these artists and learning these managers. So I couldn't just not do it. I think that's what I learned after I left my last job is, well, you can go just do something completely different, but like your friends are the same and your colleagues are the
Hmm.
same. I mean, your social media is the same. Nothing has changed except for your job. So why not still use and leverage everything you know and everything you've done into your new projects?
Yeah, and it's definitely a different, I mean, being a music journalist now versus 10 years ago is different. I mean, you and I, in other conversations, have been lamenting like the decline of media and like, you know, music journalists versus media personality,
Hmm.
so it's just, what do you think the role of the music journalist is now?
Uh, I think accuracy is really important. Really knowing the information that you're reporting and covering and taking pride and having respect for it as a craft. Because not everyone will have that love and respect for it. A lot of people don't even consider themselves journalists in the way that I think we do, as like a craft, as like a very important role in reporting and being honest and true about information. Um, because it's not just interviewing artists, right? It's not even just commentating on culture. It's a little bit more, I think, important and influential. And you have to really, really, really take it as a serious role, like be serious about it. And I think as a personality, you can be a serious reporter, but you also can always lean back that you're not a
Yeah,
journalist. And I
there's
think
room
that
for error for media
100%,
journalists. Yeah,
right? When you're a music journalist, the error hurts because it's still room for error. You're still gonna make mistakes. You're still going to put yourself in positions where things aren't always the best done. They're not always as well done as you might want them to be. But it hurts more when you make those mistakes. It hurts more because you really care about the work you do. And I'm not saying that personalities don't care. I think they just care about different things. And that's cool. Like, there's room for everybody to cover media, but I do believe in a time of like the deep fake and the false news and everything being very like loud, you need people you can trust. Like you can like, a trusted source is so valuable today because everything we talk about is just coming from information. It's from everywhere. And I think spreading misinformation should be one of the worst things you can do. It really can be because it's detrimental to somebody's life. So
yeah,
as a journalist, we take that shit super seriously. And I think I still take that seriousness with everything that I do, with whether it's podcasting, whether it's rap poetry. We're looking to be truthful in what we present and never ever present misinformation intentionally. It happens. Like we're not a big enough corporation or operation to have 17 fact checkers and all these different editors and all that. It's a small operation. We still have intentions. As a small operation, we're not just out here spreading lies. But I hope to grow so that we have more opportunities to work with other people in the media space that their role is providing the truth.
yeah. Well, speaking of rap portraits, we're going to catch a clip of your interview with Jid. Oh, sorry, your documentary with Jid called Own Something on Earth.
And when it comes to black ownership, is there anyone that you look at?
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z?
Yep.
What about Jay?
Niggas just know, like, as far as like niggas coming from a struggle and shit, like this gonna be crazy. I can't even say this. I can't even say
Come on, you gotta give us something.
But my favorite version of Jay-Z rapping is like 22 twos, like real capitalistic bars, like real like like real like what he said. My nigga said, "Nigga, you broke. What the fuck you gonna tell me?" Like that line always stuck with me, bro, in my life. And it's like, it's fucked up. It's not, you know what I'm saying? But it's a realization of like, sometimes you gotta realize like who you are and what the fuck you can offer and shit like that. But money ain't everything, so that's the capitalism part of it. But I still love Jay for his capitalism bars, like in the time he was doing that shit. Now we getting the whole tech bars, and I'm on that. I love all of this shit.
So tell me about Rap Portraits, y'all. Or you and Holland started it in 2020.
Yes. I met Holland through Fonte. Like that's really my guy. He's really my guy. And when we met, it was because he had started a web series called Hype. Holland's super self-sufficient. Like he wrote, directed, edited, scored all his first. Like he just did it. He just like Issa Rae, Aqua Black Girl made this series.
Mhm.
He ran into Fonte at like a Uber X line, and him and Fonte ended up talking, got Fonte's number and invited Fonte to the premiere of Hype at this like movie theater in Durham. And Fonte showed up. So Fonte was so impressed by what he saw, he spoke to Holland about becoming on as like an executive producer for Hype. And part of what he was doing in support of the show was like outreach. So he hit me because I interviewed Fonte twice during my tenure at DJ Booth. And his reaction to Hype was like, you gotta know this guy, yo. So he sent me the web series. I didn't immediately jump on it, but Fonte sent it to me, and I don't have a lot of things in my phone that Fonte sent me. So I got
You gotta take it seriously.
a little bit, right? Like, come
Yeah.
on. So I watched it and I thought it was great. I really did. I really enjoyed it. I watched the whole thing like one sitting. They weren't very long, but they were I saw what he was going for. So
Mhm.
I interviewed Holland and Fonte for DJ Booth. That article about Hype comes out, and me and Holland just kind of kept talking because he wanted to do Hype season 2, and he brought me on to consult about
Mhm.
the rap storyline that he wanted to tell. During those conversations, we start talking about documentaries and how we just love these fly on the wall, verite doc style pieces that you can do with artists. And we end up running into this idea about Mavi, who was rapping on a train in 2020, the day before a sold out show in New York. So the idea was like, let's follow Mavi around all day because tomorrow looks like it's going to be a big deal. This kid's rapping on this train. These kids are going crazy. Something might be going on tomorrow that if you put a camera on him all day, you might see something cool. Hit up Mavi on Twitter. Holly hit Mavi's former manager, and they both agreed to do it. So in like 14, 15 hours, you put together the first shoot. Holland flew from North Carolina to New York, followed them around all day. And that was in January of 2020. Pandemic hits in March. And by May, the first rap portrait is released.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, were you always, did you imagine you would be moving into like your writing would take you into these different spaces?
I did some script writing for, oh my God, what's the name of that company? I can't recall right now. But I did some script writing for like 3
Hmm.
videos for this project called A Day in Hip Hop. So I wrote a script and this really great voice actor did the voiceover. Somebody made like animations and clips and stuff. I thought that process was real cool. And I made one doing that and I would make for like one article. So I was like,
Oh
oh,
yeah,
that's
I'm
so
sure.
fire. And I liked how they came out. Like the videos was
Hmm.
hard. Like the videos was hard. They sounded good. I liked the words I chose. So I will say that was like my first foray into knowing that words can be transferable in that way. But no, it wasn't until I really met Holland and started doing rap portraits did it really, really, really become an idea that
Hmm.
manifested itself into reality for me. I mean, I like video, right? We grew up watching
Yeah.
movies, watching TV and stuff
Music
like that.
videos. Yeah.
But outside of like shooting, taking pictures at like concerts and stuff, I really, really, really didn't have a deep relationship with video making or like really going out and shooting. So seeing someone like Holland have that expertise and like takes he takes my input serious enough where I can see myself in rap portraits without
Hmm.
having to hold the camera. I can see like my decision making. I can see my advice. I can see my suggestions, and I can feel the way it appears on screen. That's fire. That's hard because it just is another form of creativity to understand how to put things together. And that's just storytelling. So
Mm-hmm.
rap portraits has helped me become a better storyteller, I think, by moving into a different medium and having to edit something that's not words.
And what were you, I mean, what were you trying to say that you feel like you couldn't say as a writer or just with writing?
What really happened? Like,
Yeah.
you know how hard it is to capture what the feeling in the room is without like over explaining or under explaining. The scene in the first rap portrait with Mavi's mom, where she's hugging him at the end, and the door burst opens and people flood in and you can't see him anymore. That's magic to me because we didn't plan it, we didn't plot it, and I would never be able to properly articulate how fascinating a backstage moment like that is because you see what happens before they come in. He's mom holding them, you're doing it. And it just feels like this magic moment of, oh, like he's really a rapper. This is his
Mm-hmm.
mom. They're proud of their son. In a second, that door opens and all of a sudden their moment is like disrupted. And no one outside knows what's going on the inside. And no one on the inside expects them to come in. But you see it happen. And it happens so suddenly that he just like vanishes. You can't even see him in the frame anymore. And we knew that was the last scene of the doc because it just felt so realistic to the artist experience. Like there's one moment you're watching somebody and they seem like they got the whole world at their feet and then they just vanish into a crowd of people. And that's what I think you can't do with words sometimes is like pit a person in the room. And that's
Mm-hmm.
all rap portraits has really been about. It's like, let me show you something. Like Giovanni,
Yeah.
I don't know how many people ever watched a rapper sign a contract for a home, but I seen it, and luckily we was able to record it and show people what it looks like too. And the best part about that video to me is that the lawyer is telling Jid, like, wow, my kids know you.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
He's like, man, my
Yeah.
kids know you, and I can't even reach my kids. And it's just cool to know, we know what lawyers are capable of in this world. They're some of the most honored, like they create so much legal jargon that traps our lives or supports our lives. A lawyer to tell a rapper that like my kids are into the way you use words,
Mm-hmm.
it's fire to me. And Jizz just in there with his little ring on and everything. It's just so fire. It's just such a good scene to me to see somebody sit in that seat and they're not signing a contract that's going to put them in like a 360 deal. Like they're
Yeah.
buying a home. And that's fire to have an artist say, I'm going to invest in my life outside of music by, getting into real estate.
Yeah. And that
So
was the first video of y'all's that really blew up. How did that feel?
surreal
Yeah.
because it came out on Jizz's birthday. It came out on Jizz's
In
birthday.
2021.
Yeah, but we shot it in March. So from
Okay.
March to October, it was one of those things about, well, what's gonna actually happen with this thing? And that's the other side of coming from journalism into video is that publishing a story can happen kind of fast. But the
Mm-hmm.
bigger the profile of an artist and trying to get a whole video with their face on it out, that can become a little bit more obstacles maybe, or more conversations really. And I just think at the time we weren't really set on when it was going to come out because Jiz's team had suggested pitting it out with the music when the music would come out. But we also felt that they didn't have like a timeline for it. They didn't have a date.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't know when the music was coming out, but they told us, hey, when it comes out, we can drop the doc. And we wanted to put it out. So we kind of talked it over, and I appreciate Barry and Zeke for letting us get it out. So it kind of dropped the day we knew we was dropping it. It dropped,
Mm-hmm.
like it dropped probably within an hour. I think I text Holland in the morning like, "Yo, we're putting it out." So it was out, and all of a sudden it just was everywhere, very
Yeah.
fast. Like the numbers was just more numbers. I've never seen YouTube views go up like that, and I didn't
Yeah.
know.
That's
I didn't know
awesome.
because we had already released 4 of them,
Mm-hmm.
and like
And your
everybody,
Earth Gang one did well. Your Earth Gang
yeah,
one did well. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But Bobby did well. I think all of them did well.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen the number just not stop moving. It just
Mm-hmm.
didn't stop moving. And didn't stop until like 30K. Like once it reached like 30K, then it kind of slowed down. But
Mhm.
it would just catch these interesting, like, and that's learning more about algorithms and understanding like with the way things can move on a YouTube versus how they move on social media and things of that nature. I really saw the YouTube algorithm working that day when that JIT one dropped. So yeah, like a lot of learning comes from putting these out and learning about, you know, releasing things and stuff like that. But yeah, that was the first one to really blow up. But it's always interesting because you just kind of wake up the next day and got to keep working. It's not like you get your first 70K views on YouTube and you at HBO. It just doesn't work like that.
Yeah. Well, you're in November you put out a doc with Little Brother, which was a very I can't talk today. Full circle moment.
Kentucky live.
So we're gonna watch a clip of that. It's called "May the Lord Watch."
We're all like in the commons area of the dorm. I see this dude with a Source magazine. Hey man, let me see that joint. Let me see that. You know what I mean? He's like, all right. He's going through the mag and I see we're liking the same shit. Yo, most Def, Black on Both Sides. He like, oh, you know about that? I'm like, hell yeah, nigga, I know about this. We were on a lot of the same things and we laughed at some of the same shit too. You know what I mean?
So your doc with Little Brother was a much bigger production than your previous videos.
Yeah. The biggest,
How did that?
yeah.
Yeah. How did that come together?
So Holland and Fonte, they meet and then they end up doing some other documentaries together, like some micro ones. And they had agreed to do a big Little Brother doc. So they start working on that. And I want to say, man, like 2020, 2021. Because when Holland came to Atlanta for us to put together the first rap portrait, he already had scenes from the Little Brother documentary that they were working on at that time. And I thought it was hard. I was like, oh, this is cool. After like 3 years of them like really building it themselves, they hit me to come in and work on the story aspect of it, which was just about like helping them put together interviews and helping them sort of like navigate the 20 years of Little Brother that you would have to weave in and out of to tell the story. And it was really something else. It was the longest thing I think we've ever worked on. Holland was working on it longer than me, but even when I came in, the consistency of Zoom calls about it, the consistency about the group chat, the talks, the conversations, the travel, the interviews, the edits, the edits, the edits. It's so many edits. And then it was out. You know, it's just like, to me, that might sound fast, but it was very slow in my mind. It was very slow.
I mean, that's
And
like 3 years, right?
yeah, 3 going on 4.
Yeah.
So it was definitely from 2023, from January 1st till November when it came out. It was strictly cutting 2 hours of an idea down into what it is today. So it went through a lot of changes. It went through a lot of changes. And I think that every change was proper, but it wasn't like something we could rush. We could not have rushed that out any faster. And I was surprised it even came out in November. I thought it was going to be a top of the year release. And they just put their foot on the gas and said it's coming out this year. You know, they had promised it to their fans and they wanted to commemorate their 20-year anniversary, which I think was just amazing. And yeah, it was like 50 years of hip hop. Why not?
Yeah.
Black Friday came out. The tour was great. It was excellent. That was an extreme highlight to watch people watch something that you work so hard on. And just in a movie theater, you know, you going to the movies, you might not consider. I never in my life thought that I would be at a movie theater watching people watch something that I made with my guys. Like the team produce something that in Atlanta, in New York, in Durham, in LA, DC. Yeah, we was in DC too. And every city was just like the love was real. Like you can tell, like people really laughed, people really sighed, people really awed, people really felt things. And that's
people
cool.
love Little Brother though, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And I know
That's
that,
so cool.
but we grew up, me and Holland are just like a few years removed from the fever pitch energy was around Little Brother. So I knew them as a rap group that was very influential, I like their music, but I don't think I ever really knew people that had that same attachment in Atlanta until I really started writing about music. And I noticed that my articles with Fonte would do really well. My reviews about their album did really well. They just seemed like really cool guys, very well
Mm.
praised. But still there was enough separation that when I started meeting their fans, I was still just kind of floored by how much I didn't know and how much
Mm.
they witnessed in the mixtapes, the albums, the podcasts, the shows, them opening for Kanye in 2004 or 2005. I met a guy who saw them that night. And this is in Durham, North Carolina, during their block party. And I'm at the bar talking to this man who said he discovered Little Brother at that show. He was so fascinated by their opening act that he went to the merch table, bought an album. He said he hasn't stopped listening to the album in 20 years.
You listen to it every day or something?
I don't know, but he was just like, he was a
Wow.
fan. He wasn't budging. He
Yeah.
was nowhere. And I was like, wow, I have no, like, I don't even remember hearing about them opening for Kanye, like growing up. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know that aspect of them. And you talk about them not being on BET,
Mm-hmm.
and it like doesn't really matter the reason why they want on BET. The fact that they weren't is crazy. The fact that that's
Yeah.
a conversation that, oh, you might be too intelligent, crazy. That's a thing, a stigma.
They're just so influential that that's such a miss.
So they didn't even have all the channels that some of the biggest artists had watching them, and they still was able to become this like iconic act.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think you end up feeling very proud that you get a chance to tell such a story. And yeah, I was very happy with the opportunity and being able to do that with my boys.
What did you learn about writing in your practice while working on this project?
Teamwork. Teamwork super important. You're not gonna be able to do everything. You're not gonna be able to put
Yeah.
your hand in every pot. But if you build a big enough kitchen and trust all the cooks, you'll end up with a really good meal. I think
Your
everybody.
metaphors always be so on point.
Oh, you gotta get the bars off when you can.
You really went. I was like, yeah, I hear you. I feel that.
But yeah, that's how it felt though. I never felt like we were crowded or overcrowded. I never felt like anybody wanted to take more control than was necessary. I think we made decisions as a group. Everybody was open to each other's input. Everybody showed up for work. Yeah, and I thought it was great, and it just felt good to be able to produce something that big in that kind of company. They were great company, and it was just doing so many interviews. I did mad interviews in different cities, interviews in people's homes. And we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about the same thing over and over again. And I noticed just like how much I was learning by being able to have a subject that didn't change. Like working one subject for so long, you learn everything about people's lives. Like that level of journalism is like, that's that old school rock and roll. Like I've been with an act for a month.
Almost famous type.
Yeah, like getting
Mm-hmm.
that kind of that much access is crazy. But it was cool because it wasn't it wasn't given to us by like salacious ways. Like everybody
Mm-hmm.
opened up their homes to us. Everybody was down to talk. Um, and yeah, that was cool. That I think I learned a lot about just talking to people as well.
Yeah. It is cool also working on a team because as a writer, it's just like a very lone craft, it's not
Super
very collaborative
lonely.
necessarily.
Yeah. And like it can make you feel way, way, way alone. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
are very stuck in your head. And I think the more
Yes.
people you have to communicate with, the harder it is to stay in that place. And I think as a writer, because you already have to deal with words, it makes it hard to conversate sometimes about your work. But because it was video, I think it was just easier to talk about. It was just
Yes.
easy to be like, you could really point to, you don't have to describe it too hard. It's all there. And that's why, again, like I really love Holland's film background because it helps with something like this. If he had a journalism background, it would not be what it is. Like his film background has made him such a like force to me because he can get in there and literally see it from a film perspective, and then I can
Mm-hmm.
help apply the journalism. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like and Fonte and Pooh provided all the resources and relationships. So like everybody was doing I feel like their due diligence to make this
Mhm.
a team project.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's really beautifully shot and cinematic and has the animation and
The
it's
animation
just
was
like
so
cool,
good.
so
Yeah,
fun. Yeah.
I love the animation because it wasn't there initially.
Mhm.
Like, we wanted to do something else, and that idea didn't happen. So the animation was like the last thing that was like agreed upon. Like, okay, let's get some animation. But I didn't talk to the animation team, so I had no idea what it was gonna look like. Like
Mhm.
Holland Fonte took care of that. So by the time they brought the sketches and we saw it, it was like, oh, this is cool. Like this
Yeah,
is got such a color to it. So yeah, like even that part of how things kind of happen over time and how your first idea won't always be the idea that comes into fruition. But that idea, that secondary idea, might be even better than the
yeah,
first. And like, just not trying to hold on to things too tight because it creates pressure when you're too precious with things. And I think little brother taught me to not be super precious, to just be open.
yeah. Be flexible. Yeah. So you're getting in the podcast space. Well, you've been in the podcast space. So we're gonna watch a clip of your podcast, "Fuck You Money" with Ty Basden.
About like fuck you money, the basis of it is a community thing. When your community get fuck you money, you start seeing life differently. Because there's always one or two people out of the crew that kind of like blow up or they have something exceptional about them that attracts other people into that space. Right? I recently read this case study about Jay-Z decoded book and how Dragon 5, this ad agency, launched the book. And what they did in 2010, they took all of the 300 pages of the book and put them throughout the cities of all of the places that Jay-Z wrote about. Like where these lyrics was inspired at, right? Right. One of the lyrics was inspired in Vegas. And I remember seeing this video of Dame talking about Rockefeller Vegas trips and how Emery got his name is Vegas Jones. Yeah. And how he'd be hitting like 20,000 rolling dice. Yeah. Those group of people created something that where it was able to give everybody some level of fuck you money. Mm-hmm. Rather they stay with Hov, rather they stay with Dame. You think about shit now, like look at Cameron having a new hit show with Mace. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Two of them had a situation with Puff, situation with Rockefeller. Yeah. All of it kind of went different way. Now we're talking about it's 2023. Yeah, they have a hit sports TV show. Not even music related, right? Not even music related. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So you're talking about shit like that. That shit is like, it shows how impactful it is with community when you start talking about fuck your money, especially when people around like hustlers and they work hard.
So season 2 of your podcast with Ty debuted recently. So congrats.
Thank you. I'm super excited about what we're doing with Fuck You Money because it's very much the same as like Little Brother because we were shooting these episodes while we were editing Little Brother. Mm-hmm. So that was another interesting aspect. So going from interviewing different subjects, different people about one subject to interviewing one person about various subjects. And I like Ty because Ty has granted me the most access I've ever had to someone that works like in music, in entrepreneurship, and in like entertainment in a way that I think is really interesting because he's such an open guy and he speaks his mind. He doesn't mix words and his success. I won't even say his success, his expertise and his perspective is something that I'm like, I just want to hear him share information about stuff because I've seen him like live it and I've seen it benefit other people's lives. So, I feel like it's just a good thing to give to the world.
And beyond, so Ty manages Brent Fayez, but beyond that, he has a company. Is the company Culture?
It's called Culture, yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. And then is the concept of fuck you money? It kind of seems like something that is his, like, what is that about the fuck you money?
He already had that website like Fuck You Money as like an idea. It was already something
Mhm.
Ty had. When AMP, the Amazon platform that was like their clubhouse, AMP had reached
Mhm.
out to me about doing a show on album reviews. I wasn't really trying to do that, especially because I was already traveling with Ty working on this book called the Culture Playbook. So I pitched Amazon. I'm like, yo, what if you give me and Ty a show? And they're like, all right, cool. I go back to Ty. I was like, yo, Amazon's down to give us a show. You down to do it? And he
Mhm.
was like, yeah. And we were talking about names, and he was like, fuck you money. And I'm like, Amazon's not gonna let us call this show Fuck You Money. There's no way. Amazon actually let us call the show Fuck You Money. And I think the concept is so true to Ty is because he's not somebody that's gonna stick around and deal with things that doesn't serve him. And that idea that having acquired the type of capital, the type of ideas, the type of IP, the type of opportunities where you don't have to stay anywhere that doesn't serve you, that you always have Fuck You Money. And it's not about money, it's about wellness. Uh
Mm.
yeah, like I think that's excellent. And just knowing that Ty is very serious about wellness, like he doesn't really play about that.
Mhm.
I can trust his perspective, especially because I've traveled with Ty. Um, I know I've been talking to him for years, so I know that he's about what he talks about. He's not somebody that's gonna tell you one thing, go live another life. Like, nah, he lives this shit. So that to me is like such a pure person to talk to about these subjects because
Mhm.
business gets so tricky because people don't want to share information. People don't want to pitch you on to opportunities or pitch you on to what they did.
They want to gatekeep.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
To find
Especially
somebody,
in music. Like, come on.
the biggest gatekeepers
Yeah,
everywhere. To find
right.
someone who has, he has these partnerships with artists and, being a partner with someone like a Brent Fayez, especially because Brent was not Brent with Ty and Brent met. He was not
Mhm.
Brent Fayez, this superstar R&B star, but he was an aspiring artist who was
Mhm.
looking for a chance. And Ty had already spent enough time in music working with producers that when he found an artist, he at least knew how to guide him. He knew how to get him to a studio. He knew how to build producers around him. He knew how to release music. Um, that kind of just person, that type of person, that type of executive is just a good person to have on your team because you know what happens when you're working with somebody that's not able to facilitate what your needs are. Ty knew what Brent needed, was able to provide that in a way where when things started working in their favor and they didn't have a major record label, it really brought a lot of attention to their operation. So that's how I ended up interviewing Ty for the first time for DJ Booth was just because they were doing it independently and Brent was hot and Brent only got hotter.
Yeah.
So in hearing Ty's stories about what you do when you have an artist that's popular or becoming more popular, you get a lot of opportunities, you get a lot of you have to make a lot of choices. You got to make a lot of decisions. And I like Ty's decision making. And a lot of the work that we do highlights how he makes decisions, why he makes decisions, and the kind of like perspective you should have before deciding what to do when you're managing not just an artist, but managing a business.
Yeah. Yeah, and it seems like Black ownership is a through line in your work, whether it's like, your podcast or, Culture Playbook,
The
or even, that clip of Jid where he's talking about, Jay-Z and capitalism and, just like this idea of Black wealth, Black ownership.
Mhm.
I mean, why is that important to you?
I mean, it's just kind of been my life
Yeah.
first and foremost, but also it just kind of became something that was so reoccurring. It was such a
Hmm.
reoccurring theme when I started working in music as a writer, as a journalist. And I was just naturally kind of drawn to that aspect because I know how hard it is to run a business. My parents have been running a business for 20 years and it's not always the most fun. And sometimes it just seems like we talk about music like it's working at the circus. And like it's not.
It
It's
kind of
not
is a
at
circus.
all.
I mean,
It is a circus. But it's not. But how does the circus run, right? It's not,
somebody owns it. Right? Somebody runs it.
people talk about the machine, but how does the machine run? Right? What operates? What keeps this thing going? What keeps the lights on? Being able to have someone like Ty that runs his own label and they do it independent of a major label, he gets to well, the team culture, they call the shots. And watching the shots they call is so cool because they have other artists other than Brent. I was listening to Wintertime the other day, and Wintertime's an artist that Ty found around the same time as Brent. So they both were coming out together. But Wintertime was just hot on SoundCloud, and Ty just could not figure out why. He thought maybe they were bots or something. He was like, where are all these fans coming from? And one of my favorite things about Wintertime is Wintertime has a song called Through It All. And Through It All was covered by Erykah Badu.
Mm.
And that cover got placed on Insecure for I think like season 2 or season 1. Like they ended up getting the sync placement, and because Wintertime wrote the record and produced it, they didn't have to split it with nobody. They just had to clear the record. So it's like getting that kind of sync in such a weird, like Wintertime would have weird things happen. Solange's son was a fan or is a fan.
Mm.
Tell Solange about Wintertime. Solange tells Jay-Z, and they try to sign him to Rock Nation. Like they try to afford him just because of Solange's son's interest. This was a couple years ago. I don't think they end up signing, but I remember when Ty told me that, I was like, yo, that's so cool that you had this other artist that's hyper mysterious. Wintertime barely releases music. You don't see him. Like he don't even do like actual like music videos. They had a kid animate one that was just interested. It was like, hey, I just want to make a music video for you guys. And so Ty told him, if I ever get an opportunity to make another video, I'll pay you. And it ended up happening. They ended up getting some like a budget for it. So I think both videos that Wintertime has was produced by like a fan. Like he has fans.
Wow. Yeah.
Ty just knows how to help an artist that has a little bit of like attention, that has a fan base. He can help you like know what to do with your business. So I know a lot of artists that would hope to have that kind of knowledge. And that's what, Fuck You Money for me is a vehicle for, is to try to like give people knowledge about how to run their business a little better. Cause I know I'm working toward applying a lot of the stuff Todd tells me to my own businesses. And, I think that's just helping expand the mind of what people can think about their Black businesses. So, that's always hopeful that you're doing something that will help people.
Yeah. And just going back to Culture Playbook, I mean, you don't have one book, you have 2 books.
I got 2 books. I got 2 versions.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, again, going back to like the decline of media and all that, like having physical forms of your writing is so gratifying, Like, why is it important? I mean, you're still a writer, and you're still like making books, and you're still
trying.
Like it's a dying art, right? I don't know. Is it? I don't know.
I can't think about it. I can't think about it like that. I can't think about it.
Same,
if it's a dying art, I actually only really engage with people that have like passed on and read books by like James Baldwin. And I was watching a James Baldwin clip earlier, and he's just such a good writer that I would hate if James Baldwin didn't write, if he felt that the writing world was crumbling. Like his work is still important. Toni Morrison, still important. Like every writer goes through having to write during an apocalypse. It's just the books.
It's our time.
The books always survive. For whatever reason, the books survive. When the people don't, the books will be here. So I just feel that if I can get as much information down in that form, then it'll supersede me eventually. I don't trust the internet. I don't believe this shit will be here forever. But I do believe in physical. I believe that I have a bookshelf. I don't have an internet shelf. I have a bookshelf. I got a cloud.
Your internet shelf is digital, so
and it can go away because I don't own it. I don't hold on to it. I can't go touch it.
Yeah,
it can vanish. All my music can be gone. If Apple Music decides that they want to wipe my whole account clean, they can. But come take my book from me. You gotta come take it from me.
You have more control over this.
Absolutely. So just trying to get better at making sure people have access to those things so they can buy it and do, people can give books away. I know a lot of people tell me they give the Culture Playbook to someone that needs it. And that's fire to me. Like, like being able to pass a book down is super cool because you just don't know whose hands it might end up in. And that person might end up like being the one to point attention to the book and really bring a next wave of buyers. So it doesn't die. It doesn't just like away. It's always there. As long as you have a way people can access it, the work you do can always have impact. So I'm really just trying to bet that one day I'll have a great catalog of things and I can make enough money to buy a PlayStation. You know,
I think you'll get there.
it's just be like a PS5. That'd be cool.
Okay, we're gonna take a little music break.
Me and my two niggas be like Eddie and Eddie. I'm Zach, you AC, that Jesse and Kelly. I pull up to your hood, just let me know when you ready. I'm rolling up the gloves and the faces beheaded. Hold on, chill out, please give me a second. I'm drowsy off of Zan, nigga, leg spaghetti. Cut all of the bullshit, nigga, chop the confetti. You ready? I'm ready. You ready? I'm ready. Alright, I never sell weed cause I smoke it too much. I fuck up the pack, I don't fuck with the second. I mean the bread come quick, he told me bring 300. I brought him excuses and like 200 or something. I mean most of y'all niggas love drugs like me. Love me like drugs, bitch I might be. Yo love like ball. Turn on lights please, turn off your cool. I mean I might freeze, I mean hold on relax. Please give me a chance, I was moving too fast. I ain't hear what you said. We was celebrating life and trying to get to the fetty. But me and my two niggas, we like Eddie and Eddie. Damn, Eddie and Eddie, Eddie and Eddie. Me and my two niggas, we like Eddie and Eddie. Eddie and Eddie, Eddie and Eddie. Me and my two niggas, we like Eddie and Eddie. Eddie and Eddie, Eddie and Eddie. Me and my two niggas, we like Eddie and Eddie. Eddie and Eddie, Eddie and Eddie. Me and my two niggas, we like Eddie and Eddie.
Niggas telling me I really shouldn't rhyme to dropping the classic album motherfuckers couldn't find. Took my respect, took lessons and took the time. And if you want a success story, just take a look at mine. I was blessed with the right components, so precise, cause I write so tight within the moment and spit like my life depended on it. I target you herbs on some teleprompter shit, I got you watching your words. Tay rhymes is real life, yours is so for instance. Taxing these niggas like no dependents. 12-bar courtroom drama with no co-defendants. Don't beat it off, come to your senses, little nigga. Hard rock, my block is where you better be from. Top of the line, my team will never settle for crumbs. And he's hated, but still rated second to none. I'm everything you wanna be, but have yet to become. It all started back in 99 when times was hard. North Carolina Central, but we called it the yard. Cause niggas wasn't trying to study abroad, they was trying to study abroad. Or 2 or 3 up in the dorms. Met my nigga Sean Dunn, then I started to ponder, fuck this, I'ma quit the football team tomorrow. Did shows around town and word got around. The battle in Tay was like yelling spick in Tijuana. Built my rep up, that's when Pooh and Knife stepped up. Knife was old school, Pooh was young and playing catch up. Cool, cause he could still rock an instrumental. I first joined, shit they was whack, but niggas could hear potential in them. Honing our skills for survival, hustling, our flyers passed out like my mama at revival. The real deal on how I rep my peeps, you ain't gon' find this in no press release, you little nigga. Hard rock, my block is where you better be from. Top of the line, my team will never settle for crumbs. And he's hated, but still rated second to none. I'm everything you wanna be, but have yet to become. And he's shook, that's what your team is telling me, son. Still hated, but still rated second to none. And Greensboro, cause that's the only borough I'm from. I'm everything you wanna be, but have yet to become.
Support your own, man. Cause we done been on the other side of this shit. We done been on the other side of this shit. Niggas don't even get love in their home state. And then 2 years later when niggas blow, it's like, oh, we always loved y'all. Fucker.
So what are you excited about? What are you looking forward to?
So, Fuck You Money through March. We have a new episode every Wednesday at 3 p.m. EST, noon PT. And every episode will be a different woman that we interviewed last year.
Women's History Month.
Yes. So it's really cool to be able to have, when you pre-record stuff, you can have better control over the programming. And I really started to notice that Ty's really good at that. He's like, he can look at what he has and be like, oh, okay, coming up is Women's History Month. So we should definitely provide this content at this time to, one, honor women, and then two, let the women that we spoke to really have precedence. Because if you pit things out without thinking about that, like thinking about the programming, then who knows if people will kind of get missed, or maybe episodes won't have the same type of awareness because of the way you put it out. So I think this gives a lot of opportunity for the women that we spoke to, who are all great. The interviews are great, for them to get attention. And I really appreciate that. That's really exciting, especially because I don't think these are people that's very forward facing, all very smart, all very successful. So, you know, it's like breaking an artist. It's like, man, I get a chance to present you to a brand new artist that is incredible. That's exciting. And then on March 11th, we have a rap portrait release that's coming up.
Big month.
Big month. Yeah. At least the first 2 weeks are going to be really, really fun. And then we're going to just try to keep everything pushed out throughout the month. So yeah, I'm excited about March. My cousin got a birthday coming up. We get a chance to see him. Like, what? We turning up all month.
About to be warm. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Time.
Yes. So, yeah, those are the things I'm excited about. I'm just hoping that we can keep the momentum going. Like, releasing stuff is a muscle. You want to get into a habit of putting stuff out, because part of your job is having to push it. You got to push it. Even if it's just so people have some type of awareness about it, you got to keep pushing it.
Well, we're going to close out with Brent Faiyaz's Where You At?
I be doing shit I really shouldn't do for real. That's why I always still come through for real. After this time I'll be through for real. I be doing shit I really shouldn't do for real. That's why I always still come through for real. After this time I'll be through for real. I know you ain't no good for me, but you feel so good to me. Every time I come back, I try to leave. So how you end up back with me? Oh, and cut. What I want, this is something else, something that ain't good for my health. And I've been searching, but I can't get no help. And I don't feel like myself. Oh, I be doing shit I really shouldn't do for real. That's why I always still come through for real. After this time I'll be through for real. After this time I'll be through for real. I be doing shit I really shouldn't do for real. That's why I always still come through for real. After this time I'll be through for real. After this time I'll be through for real. I can feel them walls closing. I can feel it all. I'm stuck in your claws. Try to run but I don't get far. I'ma put some blame on me, tryna take accountability, but you take all my ability. You're the death in me and a remedy. I be doing too much. I be doing shit I really shouldn't do for real. Yeah. That's why I always still come through for real. After this time I'll be through for real. After this time I'll be through for real. I be doing shit I really shouldn't do. That's why I always take come through for real. Baby, where you at? After this time I'll be through for real. Bring me that. After this time I'll be through for real.
Thank you to Yo for joining me today, and thank you to everyone for tuning into Something Slight on Kismet Radio. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Young Noodle Cup. That's YUNG Noodle Cup. And Private Stock Studios on Instagram and Twitter at PVTSTCK. And Yo, where can people find you in socials?
We have Rap Portraits on IG and Twitter, and then Fuck You Money Now on Twitter. I think it's just Fuck You Money on IG. And then you can follow me on Twitter at Yo31. So yeah, thank you for
We'll be
having
back
me.
on March 20th for our next episode.